Borderlands 4 is just on the horizon here, and in this video I want to go over a few things that I hope to see in this new upcoming Borderlands game. So without further ado, I don't want to waste your guys' time, let's jump right into this. So starting off at number 5 is unique DLC characters and locations. Now we have seen quite a bit of footage of Borderlands 4 and some of the environments to expect, and I think they said something about like 3 or 4 large regions to explore. And if the world design is anything like Wonderlands, which I really enjoyed, I thought there were a bunch of cool focal points in the terrain and everything, as well as landmarks to go explore, that I don't think this should be an issue, but it is something that I wanted to add into the video anyways. Moving on to the number 4 spot, which would be more parkour / movement puzzle stuff. With the inclusion of the brand new movement system that Borderlands 4 has, as such as dashing, grappling, and double jumping, as well as like a jetpack, I definitely see this being something that they're going to be including in a lot of the terrain, just solely based off the gameplay that we've seen, where people are grappling around and gliding around and using their grappling to solve puzzles, which I think is really cool. So I don't think this should be an issue, but it is, again, still something that I would like to see sprinkled in throughout the terrain and throughout the world, just to kind of add a little bit more of that verticality and make the open world feel a little bit more open. Moving on to the number 3 spot is going to be cool endgame stuff. We did get a hint of the endgame stuff that we can expect in Borderlands 4, such as raid bosses and repeatable missions even as well, which I thought was going to be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see how that all plays out, but we'll have to see. But yeah, cool endgame stuff, cool guns, cool enemies. I definitely think they're going to be knocking this one out of the park. Now moving on to the number 2 spot that I have here on my Borderlands 4 wish list is the ability to hold melee weapons and keep weapon skins. The first part's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain the second part a little bit more. So keep weapon skins. So in Borderlands 3 we were introduced to the ability to change our gun camos essentially. And sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth right now. I'm a little bit sick as I'm recording this, but yeah, in Borderlands 3 you could change the weapon skin of your gun. However, every time that you wanted to change that gun slot to a different gun, the skin would not carry over to the other gun. So in other words, every time that you changed what guns you were using, which is going to be a lot in a Borderlands game, you had to go in there and you had to change the skin back to the skin that you had on the previous gun, if that's the one, or you change it to a different one. However, the problem is that the information wouldn't carry over to the other gun, which was kind of annoying. I mean, at endgame you're probably not going to be switching around a lot, but definitely something that annoyed me. And the other point, the ability to hold melee weapon. Now, in Borderlands games, they've always improved on the gameplay. From Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3, there were new movement changes added, such as being able to mantle ledges and sliding. And I feel like the only thing really that has not changed in any of the Borderlands games, minus Wonderlands, was the melee system. I feel like the melee has not ever really changed. It's always just been you press this button and you do a melee attack and it does a little bit of damage. Now, I do understand that they do try to allow for players to make builds around melee. However, it feels so weird not being able to like at least hold the signature weapon for that character. So like for Rafa, it would be his blades. For Eamon, it would be like his swords or his axes, which I know you can swing while you have them out, but I'm talking about like for those of you who have played Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which if you haven't, good for you, but if you have, you'll know that if you hold the melee button, or well, whatever binding it is that you have to melee somebody, if you hold it, you can actually pull out whatever melee weapon that you have equipped, and you can hold it, you can run around with it, and I thought that was really cool. And unfortunately, I've never seen an implementation of this system in a Borderlands game, and I think it would be pretty easy for them to do. I'm not asking for millions and billions of different melee weapon variants. At the very least, I think it would be nice to at least have the characters be able to hold some type of melee weapon in their hand, so that way when you are wanting to do a full melee build, which some people do enjoy the challenge of doing full melee runs, I think it would be nice aesthetically, and it would be a little bit more immersive if you actually had a melee weapon that you could run around with, that all of your bonuses to melee damage and stuff would be applied to, and things like that. So I feel like this is something that Gearbox really hasn't developed as a system yet, and it's something that I really hope to see in a future Borderlands game. And moving on now to the number one thing that I want to see in Borderlands 4, and that is good optimization on release. For those of you who have played Monster Hunter Wilds, you guys I'm sure would hold the same sentiment regarding this whole situation. I think it's just silly that we're getting now these big budget games that are releasing, and a lot of these development studios are relying on frame generation to basically carry the poor coding behind the game. Borderlands 3 was I've heard it was pretty bad on launch, but just recently playing it on the Steam Deck, even it runs fantastic on the Steam Deck, and given Borderlands 3 is way before the Steam Deck came out, so the technology you would hope would be there to run that game. I feel like Gearbox, now being in Unreal Engine as long as they have, kind of know the ins and outs of the game engine, and I would hope that they would know enough to make it a well optimized release for the game, because honestly I feel like if it's not optimized on release, that's going to have a lot of negative connotations both to the game studio and possibly even the franchise, and that's something that I really would not be in agreement to, because this is a beloved franchise to me. I've played all of the Borderlands games, even the one on the PS Vita when that launched, and for those of you guys who've played it on the PS Vita when it launched, that shit was horrible. God, that shit was terrible. But yeah, anyways guys, that was my Borderlands 4 wish list. Some of the things that I hope to see. I'm sure there's some other things that you guys would hope to see, so if there are, let me know. I always read the comments in my videos, so anything that you guys have to say on the game would be pretty interesting to read. And for those of you keen-eye viewers, you might have noticed that down on the corner of the screen has been some video playing. It's been sped up obviously quite a bit, but basically I have been pretty excited for the release of Borderlands 4, and to kind of celebrate that release for this title in the franchise, I wanted to do something pretty special, and because Halloween is coming up, I wanted to model this mask for Borderlands, which is just a basic psycho mask, but yeah, I wanted to model this, and the reason why is because, as you guys can see here, I had actually made a keychain out of this. And it's just something that was pretty cool. I did paint it as well as sand it, so that's what you guys are looking at right now. And I also did make a full-size mask out of it. Well, I didn't make it personally. I printed it on a 3D printer, but as you can see, I modeled the mask, so it turned out really good actually. And if you guys want to pick up this file for yourselves, I will. If you guys want to see it, that is, I can always put this up on a site for you guys to download, or whatever would work best for you guys. Any of you guys who have 3D printers, I can send you the file, and or I'll have it in like a link somewhere. You can get it for like $1 or something like that. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do with it yet, but yeah, I'm super excited for Borderlands 4. I'm gonna be playing Eamon. That is my dog. He looks super cool with a lot of his cosmetics and everything like that. And I just want to run around with some axes and some swords and a shield and feel like a real Nordic warrior while I'm out there. But yeah, that's everything that I had for you guys today in this video. I will be streaming this game when it comes out, so definitely stay tuned with that if that is something that you guys are interested. But that's everything I got. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Peace.